everyone consider that this guy has gone mad, he's gone crazy. Like in their language, they said, uh, आप अपना दिमाग एक बार डॉक्टर को जाके दिखा के लाओ. They were like, you have gone mad, you should go and see a doctor. Everyone in my village started to think that I'm crazy, like I'm a fool who's building with sandbags. You're not alone. There are a lot of people like us, and we are a community. There are so many like-minded people, so many people who are actually living through their heart, not using just their intelligence and brain. Degrees and all those things are very recent inventions. I think maybe like 20th century, say it became job specific. So you don't really need to have a degree to make a living.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiny Farm Friends podcast. Our guest today is Raghuveer Singh Rathore, famously known as Raghu Raahi. He is a filmmaker, traveler, and a natural builder, and most importantly, he's one of the kindest human I know in the travel and natural building community in India. So, thank you so much, Raghu, for joining the podcast. Let's start by talking about your recent Earthbag building workshop experience. How was that?
So, hi Raghav. So nice that we are doing this. And सबसे पहले I would like to say that I'm also really inspired by what are you guys doing in Rishikesh. That's very inspiring to see that you guys are building a cob house and it's been 2 years and I know how much hard work that is. So I really like to support people who are doing that because I know how it feels. And another thing is, um, yes, so the recent workshop in Jaipur, that was my first workshop. It was a 10-day workshop in collaboration with Vinyasa. So we were building an earthbag dome, a 10 feet diameter earthbag dome, and entire dome was built with the help of workshop participants and volunteers. And there was no other help, no skilled labor involved, no architect, nothing. It was just simple people coming together and building a dome. So the dome was built in less than 7 days. The entire structure was built in 7 days, and the rest of the days were just for some plastering.
Great. I mean, I was in total awe of the incredible pace with which you guys built the dome. It's totally commendable. And so, yeah, of course, this is something I would want to dig deeper, why Earthbag building. But before we do that, I really want to know your story because what I know more about, mostly about you, is from your Instagram and from the workshops that you do on how people can travel in exchange of work. But I want to know where this journey started. So, what is your background and when did you start traveling and why did you start traveling?
I did my articleship. I was in my finals. I gave few attempts. I was very close to becoming chartered accountant, but I never really wanted to do that because when I was doing it, I knew कि when I was working for a firm as a article assistant, I got to know the work that I would be doing for the rest of my life if I become a chartered accountant. So उसी वक्त during that time itself, I had decided कि I want to do something else, but I didn't know what. I was sure CA is not my cup of tea. This is not what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I didn't know what to do. And life just happened. I started traveling. I got to know about work exchange. When I was in Goa, I met someone who was from London and they were helping in a hostel. So I went to a hostel for the first time. I didn't even know the concept of hostels. So when I went to a travel hostel, I was there and I saw that some white dudes and some white girls were helping in cleaning the hostel and all the other work, which normally the staff people do. So I was very like what are they doing exactly? So in the evening when everyone sat together, even those guys came and sat with us. I'm like, okay, why are these guys sitting with us? If they are working here, if they are staff, they shouldn't be sitting with us. So all these questions were there in my head, and when I spoke to them, I got to know they were traveling in exchange for work. That basically means they were volunteering at this hostel, and that thing intrigued me. I was like, wow, can you like really do this? They were like, yes, you just have to work for like few hours a day, and in exchange you get to stay at a with some locals, you get to eat with them, and you can just travel like this for months and months. And then I was like, wow, I want to try this. So I stopped preparing for my exams, and then I was, okay, let's do this. And then I traveled to Ladakh, Southeast Asia, and few more different places in India, just as a traveler, just enjoying life and traveling. There was no mission. My only thing was that I want to just see the places and experience. While doing that, I came across a couple in Thailand who built a cob house somewhere on island in Thailand. And I went there with my then partner, and I saw what a beautiful house they built just with the help of some volunteers. And I was like, are you guys architect? How did you guys build it? And they were like, no, no, we are not architects. We just know how to use mud. And we had some ideas in my head. And we just wanted to build it. And we know how to use cob. And we just took some help. Of course, we took some help from friends and volunteers. But just with the help of volunteers, we built a house. So I was really surprised. I was like, oh, you can do that? You can just use mud and build such a beautiful house, which is so strong, and it's like a dream house. And that's when I was convinced that some this is what I want to try. And also because I was traveling with my then partner, the the itcha of learning that I want to build with Cobb came there because we were together and we wanted to build a house together. And then we both thought, Arey, we should learn this. Kahin to we'll go to in India, and we have a piece of land somewhere, and then we'll just build a house for both of us. And this will be a great way to build. And from that thought, I entered into natural building. Though we are not together now, but I'm really thankful that because of that dream, that passion, I got into natural building. But how I came to Earthbag is that when I got to know about natural building, I started researching about different techniques that can be used to build a mud house, a sustainable house. And as I am from Rajasthan, the Thar desert part of Rajasthan, where there is not a lot of clay, not a lot of water, I thought earth bag is a really nice technique, very convenient uh, to build a house, because it doesn't need a lot of clay, not a lot of water. We also don't have a lot of straw here because we use bajra. There's not much of rice, no wheat. So earth bag was the one that I was like pretty sure, okay, this is what I want to learn and build something in my farm. And then when I was researching about earth bag, I got to know about earth bag dome. So ऐसे करके after one link after another link, I just reached here. So this was not a plan. So it just
Right.
happened.
So it's very interesting, and you made it sound very simple and a very smooth ride that this happened after another. But I would like to rewind a little bit and start from the point that when you got to know about that there is something like work exchange that you can do, and you were that time
Mhm.
preparing for like your like getting into becoming a CA. So
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like it would have been some process to gather the courage and like to go out on your first travel or like a volunteer experience or explaining your family what you wanted to do. So, what was your family's reaction? How was that period? If you could tell us more about that.
Raghav, to be very honest, number one, it's been it's been 12 years since I have been completely independent. Since I was 19, I had been independent. I've been taking care of my own expenses. I've been away from my family. So this decision was mine. So whenever I decide what I want to do, nobody really has a say in it. So I didn't really have to convince my family. So that was not my problem, like that was sorted. But uh, to decide how to travel like this, and the courage, that was also pretty simple for me, because I never really enjoyed a city life, and I was never a career oriented person. Like, I want to pursue career, I want to do this and that. It was like I got water in the desert. So I was roaming in the desert, and suddenly there was this, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I was actually looking for a way where our dependability on the whole financial setup reduces, where we have to have a degree, and we have to have a job, and then earn through it, and then use that income, our savings, to do things that we want to do. So this whole process was something that I really wanted to get out of, and I was not able to find a way. So when I got to know, okay, there is this way where you can give your time and your energy and your efforts, and in exchange they will take care of you, and you will get to travel and you will get to learn. I just grabbed it. It was the best thing that could ever happen to me. But eventually I got to know, okay, this is not just about traveling, this is not just about that, there's more in it. Because I grew so much, I was very, very superficial, not very deep before, when I was living and working for my jobs, preparing for my exams. Everything was just on the surface. But when I traveled, when I got to meet so many people, when I got so many experiences, idhar udhar jo bhi, jaise bhi, I just, my mind just kept opening. I started getting deeper. So then I got to know that this is not about just work exchange. There is so much more happening. There is so much exchange happening. You also know that. I'm pretty sure when you host so many volunteers, the conversations that you have when you get to meet people, and then that itself is so much. Like, you get to learn so much. You also start to introspect yourself. So many options starts to come up. And then there is community. This is also not about just securing your own life. So when you're traveling like this, you're building a community, you're meeting so many people, you're making beautiful relationships which are not dependent on money, which is purely dependent on your heart. Because you're giving your heart, you're working for someone without any expectation, and somebody is having you in their house without any expectation. There's just love, mostly. This is my personal experience.
Great. Thanks for being so honest about it. And I totally resonate with the fact that it is very rewarding to have these conversations from people from all around the world. And sometimes it humbles you and it definitely makes you grow as a person. So you've built quite some earthbag houses now. So what do you think are some of the advantages and disadvantages of building an earthbag house?
So the advantage of building a earthbag house is that it is faster comparatively to the other natural building techniques, especially cob building. In cob, we need a lot of time and also a lot of water, because you have to make that mixture with clay, straw, and water, and then you have to do pugging every time, and then you have to lay it, then you have to wait, and then do the next batch, and so it takes its own sweet time. In earth bag, it's very fast. All you have to do is fill your bag with little moist soil, and then you can start building your wall. So it is very fast, and it doesn't need a lot of uh, technique. You don't have to be very technically sound. You just know how to fill the bag, lay them, and tamp them. That's all. So anybody can build it. So you don't really need to have a specific kind of soil. Even if your soil is towards sandy, that is still okay. In cob, we need to have a very certain kind of soil, and we have to mix other materials also to have that perfect soil to build our house. So that is that. Disadvantage would be earthbag dome is not that flexible. When you're building with cob, you can be very creative. You can have so many different ways, so many different structures and shapes and sculpting and a lot of other things that you can do. When you're building, okay, let's have a corner over here, okay, let's have something over here. So you can do that, and you can do it when you're building it. in earthbag you have to be very precise where you want to have your doors, windows, if you want to have your almari, things to keep your stuff, anything. So you have to be pre-planned with earthbag. That is not very flexible. That's what I feel. So yeah.
And how were the reactions of the participants who come to your earth building workshop? And I'm sure some of them might have tried other natural building techniques also. What do they think about this technique? Would they prefer this technique over cob, or how has been their response?
So it's been mixed review. So there are people who loved it. They were like, wow, this is so simple. I'm gonna go back to my place and I'm gonna use earthbag to build houses. And then there are some people who were like, wow, this is really nice, but I really love building with cob because it has so much interaction with clay. You're building with what, clay and water, so you can play with it and you can build with it. So there is a emotional attachment with cob. So it has. I've met both kind of people who were like earthbag is amazing, and there were other people who were like cob is amazing. So yeah, but I remember this one very interesting story from my village. So when I was building my first structure, this is the first structure that I built last 1.5 year back, and it is still in process. It's not completely finished. We are still experimenting. We are still learning and redoing things. But when I was doing building this, मेरे गांव के अंदर everyone in my village, everyone consider that this guy is has gone mad. He's gone crazy. Like in their language, they said, "आप अपना दिमाग एक बार डॉक्टर को जाके दिखा के लाओ." They were like, "You have gone mad. You should go and see a doctor because you will also die and you will make other people also die. You're building a house like this. What if it falls and if the bags just slide and the walls fall down and people will die?" So everyone in my village started to think that I'm crazy, like I'm a fool who's building with sandbags. So that is a very interesting story actually. But now after this has survived 1.5 year, it has a lot of people from my village and even the nearby villages. They come here regularly to just to see this structure, and they had so many doubts before, and now especially when I built an earthbag dome here, now everybody is blown. Wow, you can build a dome and you don't need anything else for the roof. So the advantage that we have here in Thar Desert is that the rains are not really strong. We don't get a lot of rains. So we can build earthbag domes in desert. We don't really have to worry about our dome, our roof. यहाँ पे this structure has this katla like stone putties. So people were not very convinced. They said, when you're going to do this and build with earthbag, it is costing exactly the same when we build with bricks and cement. So why would we choose this? I was like, okay, you don't have to. This is what I love. I want to build. But they were questioning me that you are crazy. You don't need to do all this. Just hire someone and build with bricks. But finally, when I built this earthbag dome, and the whole structure was built just using earth bags, there was nothing used separately to build the roof. So now people are very interested. They're like, wow, you built this. There is no expense for a roof. It must be so cheap. And which is true. It is cheap because so many other materials are like completely out of the equation now. So yeah, interestingly, I've seen the perspective of the villagers also change. पहले तो people were like calling me crazy. Now they want me to build some homes, some domes for them, and I've already got 3 4 people from the village who are like, "Hey, can you build one for us?" Something like that. So it's a great change.
Super interesting. And yeah, I also understand how they're skeptical initially, and but over time, I think we have to earn their trust by showing how to do it, and because it's something new, and it happened in our village also, but nobody has offered yet that please build us a cow house because they know it took a lot of time. And it has its own challenges. But yeah, I mean, we can do another podcast on talking about whether to take the slow route or not. But it was an interesting journey for us as well. So now you're back at your farm and you also want to travel. So my question is, do you see yourself settling in the countryside, or do you see yourself as a nomad who set out to travel solo and just like keep traveling? How do you balance both of it? And when you take up a project such as building a farm, how much attachment does it have?
Ah, wow, it's a very interesting question because this question has been bothering me also. Because I love to travel and also I love to build stuff like earthbag structures. At other places was also I want to build my own farm, develop my own farm. So now I came to a decision where I've decided that I'll give 6 months of a year to this place and use winters to build structures here in my farm and develop my farm so that I can have a place where I can come and live. Because when I was traveling, I always was learning and collecting ideas so that one day I will have a piece of land and develop that piece of land where I could just live and I don't have to worry about anything. So my plan for this farm is that I will develop this place into a very sustainable farm through which I don't really have to go anywhere to take care of my expenses, and this place will itself help me by giving me food. Everyone in our village still do water harvesting, rainwater harvesting, so we are also doing the same thing. So water will be taken care of, we will have shelter, and then I would love to have people build a small community which will also help the villages also, like people from our village will also get to interact with all these people who are coming, which is happening currently also there because there are volunteers from different field, and when they get to know ki, oh, this is what this guy is doing, this is so different. Because recently there was this one guy who was a fruitarian, and he don't eat anything, just he eats fruits. So people were surprised, why are you eating fruits? So he shared why, like what are the benefits of not eating processed food, not eating cooked food, and how it has helped him. So it has helped, so it is giving ideas to villages also, like oh cha aise bhi hota hai. So yeah, I want to contribute to my community in my village by being here and getting a lot of people here, because it's not a touristic place, so these people don't really get to interact with them. So if I build something and people come here, so it will be a great way of exchanging ideas. Apart from that, I am going to travel for sure. That I'm not going to just settle down for the entire year. The rest of the 6 months, I will be traveling in exchange for work, maybe taking some projects and going and still learning. I still want to learn. अभी तो मैं और सीख रहा हूँ.
Interesting. So that actually segues to my next question. When you travel so much across countries and you have friends globally, so what does home mean to you now?
So basically, I have a lot of homes in India. To to be very honest, because there are so many uh, friends who are not like friends anymore. They're like my family, and I am like a family to them. So now I don't have just one home. If I go to Rishikesh, I know there is someone I can be with. If I go to other parts of Uttarakhand, if I go to Kolkata, if I go to Goa, if I go to Ladakh, so all these places I know there are people in Nepal, in Thailand, Cambodia also. तो हर जगह घर है. So I don't really, now I don't really have to say कि मुझे घर जाना है, like I'm at some place and I'm missing my home. Obviously I miss my parents, I miss my brothers and I go and meet them. But वो कॉन्सेप्ट अभी हट गया है, सभी बहुत सारे घर हैं अभी इस तरह से.
Interesting. So you would say rather that home are your friends and like people, not a place.
Yeah, because I think it's a community. So it's not that I have to think before going to these places, because I don't think them as someone who's I'm not connected with. It's like a community where I can go and I know I can help them, and they know that they can help me, and we both are, being there for each other. So it's a beautiful community and it's spread everywhere. And I really want to connect everyone, all these communities, bring them together.
Very profound. So, because you've been traveling solo, I just always like when I think about you, I also think a lot about the movie Into the Wild. In the end, the protagonist, the hero, like Christopher McCandless, before like dying, he writes this thing, no, happiness is only real when shared. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. So I've learned this thing that whenever I learn something, my first instinct is that I want to share that immediately. कुछ मैंने नया सीखा है, I'm like, "Oh, I want to share it with people. You know what? This is what happened with me. This is my new experience, and this is what I've learned. I want to share it with you." So only when I share with someone, that's when I feel, uh, like if I keep it with myself, so it doesn't really give me that kind of contentment. So when I actually share with some people, and then it is shared together, and then the joy increases, बढ़ जाता है. So that is true.
Great, thanks for sharing. So, before we end this podcast, I wanted to ask you for your advice to someone who might be in a position that maybe you were when you were trying to do CA and take the conventional path. So, what advice would you give to such a person who's not happy in the conventional setup with the job and maybe likes traveling? What would be your uh, tips on, but that person is not able to gather enough courage to, embark on their own journey?
So number one, I would like to tell that you're not alone. There are a lot of people like us, and we are a community. So you don't really need to worry about anything. In the beginning, when I started, I didn't know anything about this, and I didn't know that there are so many like-minded people, so many people who are actually living through their heart, not using just their intelligence and brain. So just relax, you will find those people. Another thing I would like to tell is that degrees and all those things are very recent inventions. I think maybe like 20th century, say it became job specific, that okay, this is the job, this is your degree, and then you can work. So you don't really need to have a degree to make a living. If you have a skill, and that could be anything, so you need to discover that what is that you really want to be skilled at. That could happen by leaving your place, not necessarily that is the only way, but I'm saying, you still want to find a way, then you just have to leave that place and start traveling and seeing all those options, trying them one by one, and enjoying them, not with the intention, okay, this is the great place, this is the great idea, and this will give me so much money, then I should try to do that. Then again, you are actually using a wrong method to find what you really want. Instead of doing that, you should just try everything. जिस जो भी तुम्हारे अंदर से आवाज आ रही है कि this is very interesting, I would love to do that, go and do that. And you don't really need to have money to experience that. You can go and volunteer and learn, and then go to another place and help them and learn. Then keep doing this. There is no rush, and then you will know, oh, this is what I really want, this is what I really love. So the entire world is there to play with. There are so many options that we don't really know, because when we are in a city, when we are in the that specific setup, we are not given those options. We only see ki, okay, this is a more comfortable job, or this is what will give me more income. So yeah, I to always tell people, कि take that risk, get out, travel at least for 1 year, and don't just travel to travel. Travel to find your interest. Travel to learn more. It will eventually be fun because you are going to have fun when you are doing what you love, and then you can use that to become a skilled person in that specific interest, and rest will follow. So yeah.
Interesting. And but to that, to your answer, what are some of the excuses that people get back at you, like on responsibilities or family dynamics? So how do you encourage those people?
Yeah, I mean, that is the most difficult part, when people say that I have these responsibilities and I can't go and I can't leave. I believe that those are some constraint that maybe people cannot get out of it now. But if you prepare yourself and you plan yourself, so maybe not now, maybe after a year, maybe after a two year, 3 year, those things can change. You can take yourself and your family and all those things in that direction, जहाँ पे तुम्हारे responsibilities कम भी हो जाएंगे, you will be more free, and then you will be able to do what you want to do. So not now, but if you really want it, things can change. You can take those things into that direction. So responsibility, I completely agree. Those people who have that responsibility, they can't just leave like that. But you can still do that. It might take some time.
Great, I agree. So where can somebody, learn more about how to travel in exchange of work?
So on my social media account, Instagram, there is a lot of information that how you can travel. But if you cannot find those, like a lot of information there, it condensed way me. So that I have done a workshop also. I have recorded that workshop, and which is available on my uh, link tree on Instagram, on which you could just go and watch that 1.5 hour of video where I have explained everything, I've shared everything, do's and don'ts, and what you will learn, what will be your experiences, everything, whatever I have experienced in these 5 years, I've shared everything. That will be really helpful. That will also give you the idea key, what can you expect from work exchange through volunteer travel, and that will also motivate you to take that first step. Because I have spoken to those people who watched that recorded workshop. I didn't even know okay, somebody watched it, and then those people somehow called me or texted me, and then we had a conversation, and then they shared their experiences, that how it has changed their life. I didn't know that it could impact someone at that level. To share one story, there was this guy from Haryana who's just for 24 years old, going through a really low phase in his life. Very, he was very down, very depressed. He also said that he really wanted to end his life because he was so stressed with his life. And his cousin sister recommended my workshop. He had that link for 1 month, but he never watched that. And one day he decided, okay, today I'll just see what is that. Even I've seen so many movies. By spending that much of money, then I can spend that much money and learn something from the workshop. And then he watched it. And after watching that workshop, he just decided to leave. Now he's working in Chhattisgarh with a tribe, volunteering with few amazing people, bunch of people who have also built cow house. They're growing food, they're helping tribes, they're teaching. So it's been 3 or 4 months that this guy is working with them, and his life changed. His life changed, and when he was telling me this on a call, that impacted me so much. That itna chota sa experience of my life I shared, and it changed somebody's life. So now that guy is like, I am feeling like I'm born now. 24 years of my life was I was not alive. now I am alive, now I have born, now I'm learning, now my perspective about this entire life has changed, and this gives me so much happiness. Okay, I could be a part of that change, that one life. It feels so good, like even now when I'm telling this, I'm feeling so good about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible impact to have on somebody else's life. And so, thank you so much, Raghu, for having this heart to heart conversation with me. And I hope to cross paths with you in real life. And I hope you come and see us in Rishikesh, or I would definitely like to visit your farm in the near future as well. Thank you once again for your time.